HBO still does not have a team for Hard Knocks. There are 4 teams that are eligible, Ike. And let me get my list here. The Bears, the Saints, the Jets, and the Commanders. First want to ask you, which of those 4 would you want to see on Hard Knocks this year?
Say it again. The Bears, the Jets, the Commanders, and who else?
The Saints.
Man, just go ahead and give me AR, man. Let me see what AR talking about with the Jets. Let me see what Aaron Rodgers talking about right quick. I mean, he new to the team, fresh up on the team. Young team. He's surrounded by a lot of young guys too, and they talking highly of him if everybody been paying attention. So
yeah,
let's see what they talking about right there, sitting up there with the New York Jets. It's gonna be interesting. I look at Uncle with his nephews. That's how I look at that team up there with the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is the uncle, and everybody else is nephews. So they're looking at him totally different. And he looking at you can tell he just feels different. You know, he got a lot of bounce to his attitude and his stuff. And you can just look at his body language and, you know, he feel like, you know what, this feels different. You know, I like this right here. He going out with the young boys. They're going to basketball games when basketball was going on.
Yeah, him and Sauce.
Yeah, hey, man, listen, man. Them boys, you know, they in New York. So it's a different kind of vibe out there in New York. So them boys, look, he said he felt like potentially he could have the best corner and the best receiver in Garrett Wilson, man. It's just saying it. Then you get Brees Hall coming back, like, what we doing? You know, so hey man, he looking at this roster like, oh snap. And I'm looking at that roster because we was talking about that roster last year, Mark, before Brees Hall got injured. Like, Brees Hall was on his way to getting 1,200 at least rushing. Cause we was messing with Brees Hall coming out of Iowa State.
Oh yeah, we loved
talking about it. Yeah, for the draft. So, and he looking at it like, oh man, you know, it like he didn't hit that reset button, in a good way, body language wise, you know. So I guess all of them going into the woods and having yoga sessions and getting missing for 4 or 5 days, man. He finally go to a team that, you know, he's really enjoying. It looked like AR is really back to enjoying himself and enjoying football. It don't look like a job to him no more. And I thought when he was in Green Bay, it felt like a job for him, you know. Just looking at how he's interacting with the young guys for the Jets, it don't look like a job to him, like he's back to having fun.
Winning would take care of the psych, but I'm curious to see how long that honeymoon lasts with the New York media, especially considering it's the largest city in the country, media market number 1. So we'll see. You mentioned Brees Hall, and I know everyone listening really cares about this, but my fantasy football team never recovered when he went down with injury. I never recovered, Ike.
Nah, Brees,
special player.
Yeah, he was on his way. So he was special at Iowa State, and he was on his way to being special his first year. But hopefully he come back super healthy, because I would love to see him get down this year.
I would love to see the Bears, just considering my hometown, Justin Fields entering his 3rd season. Remember, there are requirements to be on Hard Knocks. You are not eligible for the show if you have a first-year head coach, if you've gotten a playoff berth in either of the past 2 seasons, and then teams that have appeared on Hard Knocks within the last 10 years. So the reason why we're talking about this, Ike, is a year ago, we knew in March of 2022 that the Lions would be on the show for last season's show. We're into June and we still don't know what the plan is. Why is it from a team and an organization standpoint that they wouldn't want the HBO cameras there?
Hey, that's a good question. Ask me that question again. Run about.
If you're looking at this from the team standpoint, the organization standpoint, several of them have said, no, we don't want to be on Hard Knocks. Why is that? Why wouldn't you want to be on that show? Is that a competitive advantage? Is there something you'd be giving away? Why would teams say, no, we don't want to be on the show, to decline HBO's offer to say, hey, we want this team or this organization on the show?
Because it's going to be in training camp. And training camp for the majority of people is sacred. You know, you got guys trying to make it on the team, you know, and you got a lot of there's a lot of intimate conversations and intimate situations that's in that training camp. And some people just want to keep it private. You know, they say a private life is a good life because nobody knows what's going on, and that's exactly how you want it. You don't want people coming in with different opinions when you make it public. You don't want to tell everybody. It's just like being married. You know, when you come in the training camp, man, you're on your way. You're getting married. You don't want everybody's opinions on what's going on. There's just a lot of things you don't want people to know what's going on. So I just look at, you know, the successful teams, they're not worrying about, you know, hard knocks at all. I think it's entertaining because,
Yeah.
you know, outside of football, the real world gets to see what really goes on inside the football world. So it gives them a glimpse. But your teams who win the Super Bowl, they don't want no part. Your teams who has been winning Super Bowls, they don't want no part of that. It's that intimate factor when guys coming to training camp trying to make the team. You got guys coming into their prime. You got veterans still trying to hold on. You got rookie guys trying to prove something, have a name. You got coaches as well as trying to do the same thing as these players, regardless of whether you didn't coach for 3 years or coach for 33 years. So it's just a lot of intimacy. The only way I can look at it is like even when I'm just going back when I was in training camp, like it's a lot of things I don't want y'all to see because it was more us than anything. You know, this is a us, this is a we thing. And it's just you don't want people to see all kind of things anyway. But it's just that it was bond building for us, and for us to have that kind of bond building, I think sometimes the cameras get the rolling and people kind of, you know, act out of body. So say they're not being authentic.
Yeah.
So
I also think it's not fair to compare football to pretty much anything else we do in life, to where when you're in the heat of battle lined up against someone, there's a lot of testosterone, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of pride on the line. So I was going to ask you, like, what's an example of that? But like, you know, when there's a training camp brawl or there's a fight or there's a coach and a player having an exchange, you know, I try to think about other facets of life where something like that would happen. It's like maybe other than the military, but that's something that can be required when you step between the lines. You're 11 on 11 when you're playing the sport of football.
yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, when I played, they asked us a few times and we declined, and I'm kind of glad. It's just like, I mean, if they would have rolled the camera, man, we probably would, all us probably would have been superstars on how we was acting. How we was acting, man. We was ahead of our time when it came down to that mark. We would have been superstars. All this reality TV stuff, man, we would have blew that out the water, and we were just gonna be ourselves. Ourselves versus each other was a handful for grown men. So, but yeah, Mark, man, it's just them three situations you were just talking about: coaches and players, players versus players. Um, man, we like to keep it in house. You know, that's the old saying, like, just keep everything in house, man. The less people know, the better it is for us. And I think Pittsburgh always felt that way.
And we have almost, well, the show's been on since what, 2001. So the Ravens had some success. They were 10-6 the
Right.
following season. I know the Bengals had some success when they were on, but other than that, dating back all the way to 2001, you haven't had a team that's been on Hard Knocks that's gone on to win the Super Bowl. It's usually a team that at the earliest is a year away, sometimes 2-3 years away, which is okay. For me, I'm like, well, if I'm on Hard Knocks, I'm not saying it's a causation, but there's a correlation there where it's just like, thanks, but no thanks. But we'll see. I do hope we get the show.
Right.
We'll see which team ends up getting it.